So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and help you decide if this is going to be the phone for you. I've had it for about 1 month and I want to share with you my honest experience in detail, pretty much everything I have learned. So quickly, I just want to talk about the exclusive color red here. Now, this is not anywhere near like a red you're going to find, on the 14 Plus, for example. It's not a zingy red. It has more of an orange-ish look, or more of a coral look, I would say. Some people say it looks more orange. It's pretty nice though. It's got like a matte texture to it, so it feels very nice, and I've grown to really like this color. I really think it's very clean how they went with a black frame here. I really like that because this type of frame stays clean most of the time. You can see right there, versus something more like a polished frame, which can show more scratches and stuff like that. So I'm a real big fan of that. I just wish the red was a little more red, actual red, than this colorway, but it'll do. It's still custom. You're not going to see many people with that color option. Now, this phone also, you'll see, does come included with an S Pen, which is the only, flagship phone out there really that's giving you this feature. And Samsung basically pioneered this as their own thing. And it's going to be one of the best pen writing experiences on a phone today. Some people say, I don't really need that. I don't even use that. Well, you say that because you don't got it. When you actually got it and you start using it, it's not going to be something you want to give up, honestly, really. And then we have this big display, a 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED 2X 2K display on here. Gets super bright, has extra brightness modes. I mean, it's fantastic. And we'll talk more about the experience with that later. You also do have yourself a 200 megapixel triple camera on the rear. Well, actually quad cameras. We got an extra one right there. So tons of camera options here, 200 megapixels, and then you could go space zoom. I actually got a photo of the moon. I will show that to you later in this video. In addition, you have 12 gigabytes of RAM, a high storage capacity. You can go all the way up to 1 terabyte of storage on this phone. A SIM card slot is still on board here, and the phone does have very fast charging as well as USB-C right there. A 120 hertz panel that does rotate and do more than just stay in a portrait orientation all the time. And Samsung retains its boxy shape, which a lot of people do like because it's unique. It's a little bit different than most other phones out there, but some people dislike the ergonomics of it, the way it feels in the hand. Personally, I think it's split. For me, I like how Samsung did go with a slightly closer to flatter display. There is still some curve action on there. Some people really like it. For me, I want to see a fully flat one again, like the Note 5 was, but some people really like this. And the boxy shape for me, it depends on what I'm doing. Like if I'm doing a lot of media consumption, a lot of note taking, like what this phone is really good at, then I really like this boxy shape. But when it comes to just daily use, I think I like a more curve on the edges for just simple daily use because it just feels better in the hand and stuff like that. But overall, just a very nice package. You're basically getting everything here. Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, high storage, super long zooms up to 100 times. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's everything in the kitchen sink once again. So 1 month later, when it comes to the body and the build, we already kind of talked about its look and feel and stuff like that, but having a 234 gram weight means that this phone actually feels a little bit lighter than some other phones in this size range. So it kind of feels quite impressive. It's got some weight to it that lets you know you got a premium device. But in terms of its actual weight, I found that this phone is still a big boy. So if you want a smaller, lighter phone, this is not for you. But if you want to play with the big boys here, this is going to be it for you. Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the front and rear. However, these phones, I don't care what they're marketing, they still scratch. So right now I got a screen protector on it. I just don't want to get my $1,200 phone plus scratch. I don't care if it's just fine little scratches. Those bother me too. I get really obsessive about that. Like just a little slit and I'm like, come on, man. I just paid $1,200 for that. I don't want no little slits of scratches nowhere on my phone. So that's something I still do regardless of the fact that it's scratch resistant. We have an Armor aluminum frame, which means that this frame on here should be able to take a beating. If you drop it on the corner of concrete, it should still hold up and be fine. I mean, it's not going to look pretty. You'll probably have a little chip or a little dent if you do that, but At the same time, you should still be having a usable phone. So it can handle the real world every day quite easily. It's one of their most durable designs here with the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Now, I also want to just mention one more thing about the body and the build, and that's going to be that this phone does have IP68 dust and water resistance. So, this is going to be something that you don't have to worry too much about getting it wet either. And basically all around with the Armor Aluminum IP68, just this matte feeling back. It just got this weight to it. It's solid. This just feels like the most solid Samsung phone they make. Now, talking about the display, we already went in depth a lot on this with our full reviews. 1 month later, I can tell you that I've noticed that, in the natural mode, here's the thing I want to say about this. So in the vivid mode, I find it to be more my liking. In the natural mode, it gets really toned down, which I also like for, when you just don't want vivid colors in your face. But I wish there was a little more customization with the display. We do have, let's go over here. They have simplified it, but we do have these RGBs, but I wish there was a few more options in here because this display is freaking awesome and stuff like that. So that's just something I wish was there. But I've enjoyed this eye comfort shield a month later, and specifically the enhanced comfort mode right here that really just changes the colors and makes them, they don't look pretty, don't get me wrong, in enhanced comfort mode, but that's not the point. What they do is they really save your eyes. And when you do have eye comfort shield on and you blast that color temperature, I find this to be one of the easier Android phones to deal with at nighttime. If you are, watching content, you kick back and relax, it's a good one. Now right here, also having different resolutions is quite nice. It does come with full HD out of the box, so you do have to go here and tweak this. But a month later, I still always appreciate having split screen modes, appreciate having the ability to take advantage of this display. This is stuff I actually use. I don't use it all the time, but the fact that it's there, it's peace of mind, and it makes me feel like it's a good value because I'm buying this big display and I want to be able to take advantage of that big display. I also think that this display is awesome for S Pen use because of the shape of it. So having that rectangular shape allows us to be a great experience here with the S Pen. So definitely something that I think is really enjoyable is the shape for using S Pen. So if you are going to be using, S Pen, definitely get this phone. You'll really like it. It's going to be really good. Also, you can take photos with this S Pen as well. This S Pen does have the ability, this can be clutch. If you don't have a tripod on you, as long as you Bluetooth this thing, it can definitely take a photo of you in camera. So keep that in mind. If you are thinking about, creativity with your phone, this can be a really good option. But just overall, when we're discussing display, incredibly bright, can get incredibly dim as well. And it just feels like you just bought the top of the line panel you can buy for a smartphone. So that's pretty much all I have to say about the display. It's not going to be the sharpest display out there. There are some Sony smartphones with higher pixels per inch. They're a little bit narrower. There are some other phones that don't come with full HD default. You'll have to change it. But in terms of versatility, this is probably the most versatile smartphone display on the market with the most vivid and saturated colors, with also the ability to tweak them to a more natural tone if you like that. My thoughts on software is that Samsung phones have felt like, Samsung phones for the longest time, and this one feels no different. Loaded with features here, and the value add here is that you get basically what you'll get with a Pixel. You get Android, but you also get Samsung Skin, which arguably makes it better because of all the add-ons that come with it, along with Samsung Knox and security. You also get updates very regularly, and just all the advanced features makes this phone very fun to use. Some people call it a toy. I don't get that. The thing is that, you can use it like a toy if you want to play around with it, customize it all day. But the fact of the matter is some of these features are quite useful, like the ability to go ahead and use the side key to launch different things, Bixby, power off menus, and just open different specific applications is a pretty good, little feature add-on. In addition to that, you have the ability to have different motions and gestures, like the ability to take a screenshot like that. So these little add-ons, once you get the hang of them, they actually can save a little bit of time from, doing things a little bit more manual, like finding the button combination to take a screenshot. So the software in here for me has always been a value add, especially if you like features on your phone and you don't want something that's basic and doesn't do the things you want it to do. The Samsung phone usually has that option for you. One thing I don't like about the software though is I think that it's kind of a little messy that we have all this Samsung stuff going on, all this Google stuff. It just feels like Samsung's reliant on Google, and I think it would probably be better if it was a full Samsung experience. That's just my take, but you know, it's kind of hard to break out of that Play Store experience, but it just feels like you're operating in two different worlds in the same platform. It's pretty awesome that you have all those features. It just feels like a little more to manage. It takes away from the simplicity factor. So I don't really consider this a super simplistic operating system. I consider it more feature packed for somebody who wants to dig around a little bit more. And while you can just set up some icons and make it super simple, I just think that it doesn't have that overall simplistic feel once you actually start playing around and start using the device, you know, to its full potential. So yeah, that's it. Other than that, you know, a month later, I think it's awesome. You know, everything you can do, it definitely commands its price tag with all the stuff you can do with this beast of a smartphone. This is not only a business class phone, it could also be great for just somebody who wants to watch a lot of media, who has poor vision, they want a larger display. You know, there's so many variables that this phone could work for. So it's a really versatile setup here and software. The best thing about this phone 1 month later has been its performance. Samsung has went to town on this smartphone with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. They've heard our complaints about Samsung not being the fastest out there, not having the best animations. Well, they fixed that. They said, we got you. We got you. And they finally did. This phone launched out of the box super smooth, super fast, pretty much every area. There is no concern of lag. I don't want to hear that, oh, 1 month later it's going to be different. Oh, try that phone in a year. Okay, we'll be back in a year and I'll show you this phone is still blazing right through everything. So blazing quick in pretty much every single area, including transfer speeds, you know, charging speeds. We have reverse wireless charging. We have super fast animations. You see my speed test. I'm not even done with every speed test I was going to make with this. So you're going to see some more beast. And also, this beast right here does get, you know, software updates regularly as well. We should be getting one soon here. It already turned April. Sometimes they're a few days after the first day of the month, but we'll definitely be getting another update soon. So they nailed it. The performance absolutely nailed here. No issues, no heat management issues, nothing. This thing is a boss. Now, when it comes to the cameras, triple camera setup, I'm not going to go through every single spec and feature, but I will just kind of generally speak about my experience. The actual results of this phone have been pretty amazing. Here's that moonshot I told you I was going to show you. Take a look at this. Yes, we've heard that Samsung is post-processing to make the moon look even better. I don't care what they're doing. This looks amazing. And do you need to take these shots? No, but this one night when you actually see the moon out and you're able to take a photo of that and create a memory, I think is freaking awesome. I took this photo. This is not a stock photo. This was in my backyard. I went outside, I seen the moon, I zoomed in on it. It looked like a half moon from my distance. You could see it's just covered up. It's the full moon, but it is covered up. It was a half moon showing. It's just awesome. I mean, this was probably about the full zoom it could go, but it's incredible the amount of zoom that's capable on here. Not only that, you have a much more usable 10x zoom if you want really good sharpness as well. 3x, 30x, 100x. I mean, the list goes on and on. In addition to that, Samsung gives you a pretty darn good front-facing camera for an Android phone. A lot of Android phones don't have good front-facing cameras. This one does excellent here, and you have different tones. You can use natural or warm depending on what you like. And you have face and filters as well. It has a very good front-facing camera. Also, video modes are topping out at something like 8K 30, UHD 60, and they're all front and center right there in the camera. So you don't have to leave your camera experience to start using this stuff. If I go over to more, we also have Expert RAW. And what's cool about the Samsung phones is you get Expert RAW on all the S23s. You don't have to go to the Ultra to get that. You get Pro Video, Food, Panoramics. I mean, look at this. It goes on and on and on. You also have the versatility to bring this down into here and move it wherever you see fit, if that's something you use a lot. So, I mean, again, bringing that feature set over here to the camera. And take a look at these features. ISO, multifocus. you'll see all this stuff. And the thing about this is that it's super easy to use as well. It doesn't take that much, skill to start using this. So they found a way to make this professional, versatile, and also consumer grade at the same time. It's really awesome. I really do appreciate it. And I'm not going to go ahead and show a ton of photo samples here. We already did that in the past video, but I'll just show you a couple on screen here. You can just see the ability to zoom in is really, really good. You can see right here, just really sharp, nice photos, vivid, punchy, sharp. And the thing about Samsung, though, I will say that I don't overly like is that they do a lot of sharpening and post processing. So if you don't like an overly sharpened photo, you might not really like this photo too much or this phone too much. But if you like a punchy, sharp photo that's ready to share right now, Samsung has one of the best cameras on a smartphone today. One of the most important areas people can care about in 2023 is battery life. How long does the phone last? Because I use my phone every day. It's become a part of my life. Listen, the battery goes and goes and goes. That's what it does. And the thing is that Samsung phones haven't always done this. The 5000 milliamp, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy, One UI 5.1, combine that all together. The optimizations they've been improving, while it's not perfect, and I think Samsung still has some work to do, especially on standby time, this phone lasts me all day very easily, and then some. You also do charge faster than your competing iPhone 14 Pro Max, so that's also nice that I can top up faster. The 14 Pro Max I feel like is pretty close to this, but overall, in actual usage, this thing is just a tank. It just keeps going and going and going. But if you're using GPS all day, using camera 4K, you're going to kill any phone. You're going to need the charges throughout the day at some point. But a regular use, just here and there camera, here and there GPS, not the whole time, the whole day, then you probably will make it the whole entire day easily on this phone. A couple other things I want to talk about is the in-display fingerprint sensor. It's been flawless. I've almost never missed at all. And the only time I miss is if my finger is literally not in the right location. That's the only time I miss. This thing is flawless when it comes to opening this stuff up. And it does have Bluetooth 5.3 on board for fast connection. Samsung DeX, somebody asked me to show them a video on that. We're considering doing that soon. But essentially what it does is it connects to the monitor like you see in that photo and will turn your phone wirelessly into a computer. That is clutch if you don't want to buy a whole computer. I do this with my Samsung M8 monitor. It works flawlessly. So it's pretty cool, man. I'm just really excited about that feature. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. We could talk about phone call quality all day. It's also fantastic. It's been good for a while. 5G performance is there. This thing has it all. Is there any real cons to this 1 month later? And honestly, not really. I just think that if you don't like it, at this point, it's like if you don't like Samsung experience, if you don't like a large phone, that's probably the only con. And here's a con. The phone, I don't like how you have to get this phone to get everything Samsung has to offer. I wish they would make a smaller phone like Apple does with the 14 Pro. Make a smaller phone for the people who don't want the large phone to get all the great camera features and all of that. I don't like how you have to go to the Ultra to get the Ultra features. We should get like a smaller phone. S23 is great, but it doesn't have everything this has. So definitely that would be nice. Other than that, it's a win. Is it going to be better than what Apple has to launch later this year? We'll have to find out and see. So stay tuned, stay subscribed. We're going to do a full comparison on those later when the Ultra, the 15 Ultra, or the 15 Pro Max comes, whatever they're going to call it. So stay tuned. But it's been stellar. Samsung knocked this out of the park, and you can get it earlier this year already. So thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.